Pickles. Surprised that was the first word of an episode about a coffee shop? I can imagine. But the NoCo Pickle Company, you have to know about it. The founder, Michael Brawley, has been a guest on the NoCo, and her products speak for themselves. Their infamous habanero dills can help you keep warm this winter. For more information about where you can pick up these delicious local pickles in the NoCo area, visit their website at fortcollinspicklecompany.com. It only took one jar for me to decide that these were the pickles I wanted in my fridge. Whoa, listener. Are you sure you're ready for the quips and tricks of this episode? We discuss Aunt Helen's coffee shop, located in downtown Greeley. Have you received Aunt Helen's advice yet? She turns 107 years old this year. Don't worry, you can hear plenty of Aunt Helen's advice on today's episode. This is the NoCo, the podcast of Northern Colorado, bringing our community together one conversation at a time. Today it's the 50th episode. We started back in August of 2018, and I want to thank each and every one of you who have helped this show stay a reality. I believe in the value of community, both personal and regional, and it's wonderful to be able to connect the NoCo area with this podcast. So for that, I thank you. With no further delay, I bring you Aimee Hutson of Aunt Helen's Coffee House.
Okay.
Have you done interviews like this over audio before?
I have. We did some interviews on KFKA.
And that's the Greeley station, right?
Yep, it's AM, the 1310 KFKA radio station that's local. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they have a podcast network, I think.
They do.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get involved with them, but they're building for a huge conference coming up in Seattle. So I think we're waiting after February, and then I might try to do some collaboration with them.
Very cool.
So I sit here live in person with Aimee Hutson, the co-founder and co-owner of Aunt Helen's Coffee House, also the operations manager. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, but also I should say welcome to myself because we are here on site at the coffee shop, and this episode has been a long time coming. I have joked about it on a couple other episodes with previous guests on the NoCo that I first shot you all an email a long time ago when the show was first starting.
Yeah.
Because I was really interested. I just loved the sassy vibe of Aunt Helen's. Your A-frame outside always made me laugh when I was biking around town. Really glad to have you sit down, and coincidentally, it is the 50th episode.
Yay!
So here we are. And,
awesome.
Haley Hughes was the final connection that led me to
it was Haley.
Having you all contact me.
That's right. She's great. We really enjoyed having Haley do our nutritionals for our menu.
Yeah, and I've seen she's been featured on your Instagram before as well.
Quite a bit, yes. Yeah, we've done a lot of partnering together. One of our biggest focuses here is to provide healthy options for individuals. So if they're looking for dietary, or if they have dietary restrictions, that we're able to offer those items for them as well. So Haley was a key piece in that for us.
Nice. So she actually helped you all design items that are on the menu today.
She did. She took a look at our menu items and did some nutritional value, made some suggestions. For instance, we don't use mayonnaise. We use Greek yogurt in a lot of our dressings so that they're lower fat, higher protein, much better for you to eat. And that's kind of our goal here. We're currently working on being a bike-friendly business. My husband is a big advocate for bike riding and cycling throughout the city and really wants to focus on making some changes in the community and make it more of a cycle-friendly community.
Right. And how do you all plan on, or have you intentionally tried to be bike-friendly so far, and then maybe some steps in the future you want to take?
Sure, you bet. Some of the things that we've taken, that we've already done is we've partnered with the city, added an extra bike rack. We do rides out of here in the summertime on Saturdays where people of any ability can meet, and they do ride out of here and show some trails. Bob also sits on the advocacy group here in Greeley for the rec department. Then we also sponsored the Polar Pedal every year, which is a bike ride in January. We also done some fundraising for turnaround bikes, just opportunities to get more people active and get out there and utilize the beautiful trails that we have here in the city.
Because we have the Poudre Trail that connects through Windsor.
Correct.
That eventually will connect to Fort Collins, although as my boss over my summer job working for the town of Windsor would remind me, that's been like 30, 40 years in the making. Yeah. So we'll see when it happens. But it's funny. Nice. Yeah, it's funny you mention a bike-friendly community, because the first time I came into Aunt Helen's last summer was on my bicycle.
Right. And that's what we try to advocate for or have people do. We do offer specials for people who utilize alternate transportation such as bicycles. We just think that's a big thing to be green and just to help the overall community.
And so for those who don't know, Aunt Helen.
Yes.
Who is she? The legend? the inspiration for this
snarky
coffee.
Lady. Yes. So she is my great aunt. She's 106 and a half. She'll be 107 in June.
Let's pause there for a moment. 106 and a half listeners. Just want to throw that home. Okay.
Incredible. She's from the East Coast. And so every summer she would come to Colorado. My parents are teachers, and we would jump into a 1975 orange Volkswagen camper van, which is where the orange comes from, in the coffee shop. And she would travel around the United States with us. So she was a big part of my life growing up, and just always kind of told it like it was, didn't mix words. And I kind of admired that as a young girl, with that Midwest attitude of, oh, it's okay to hear somebody kind of speak her mind. So that's where the inspiration came from, is do a coffee shop that's not warm and fuzzy, but more of a, see ya, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, that kind of attitude.
Yeah, your A-frame today says something about, may your bitter cold last as long as your New Year's resolution.
Yeah. One of our baristas did that, but yeah, we try to find real fun things that make people laugh. That's kind of the whole goal, something sort of that you wouldn't expect.
So you had this great aunt, and was it notorious? Did she have a reputation in your family, or was this something that you just kind of picked up on your own?
She does have a reputation in our family. We spend a lot of time walking behind her, apologizing, saying I'm sorry. Very much so. My family's pretty small. Helen is the last living relative on that side, on my father's side of the family. So she's definitely legendary to us.
And one of your taglines for the coffee house is that you want to provide an exceptional, warm, sassy experience.
Yeah, and the sassy comes from, like, on our Java jackets, we have quotes from Aunt Helen, things like aim low, avoid disappointment. And we try to just kind of make people chuckle. It's something they wouldn't expect. So that's where the sass comes from. But overall, we try to make visiting Aunt Helen's the best part of your day. That's our goal. That's what we tell our staff. Their main focus is to make your experience the best.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's
very
neat.
Fun.
And the avatar that you all have on your Instagram, your Instagram is like addicting. It's one of the places I reached out to you a second time was because I'd always find myself watching this Aunt Helen avatar interact in your coffee
Isn't
shop.
she funny? She gets herself into a lot of trouble. So we have a lot of fun with her. A lot of fun. It's kind of an alter ego for me.
Right. Did you find that? I don't even know that you could do that with, maybe it's a Snapchat avatar?
It's Snapchat, yeah. It's just Snapchat. It's the Bitmoji that we created. So that's how we found it. And actually, one of my employees is the one who said, you should create an Aunt Helen. And so standing in the kitchen, we literally created Aunt Helen down to the hair, the glasses, and then the not so young body.
Right. And she has her like
sweatsuit on, or or her apron,
Right, the barista apron a lot of times.
Yep.
So how does this convert into you and your husband Bob, right?
Yes, correct.
Starting and founding this coffee house in Greeley.
You bet. So it had always been something I wanted to do for several years. I wanted to own my own business. I wasn't sure which kind it was. And Bob has a lot of experience in this industry. I was mostly focused on management. I had managed up to a group of over 45 employees at one point in my previous job. So I had that experience as well as customer service, and he had the food industry knowledge. And we sort of knew that downtown was up and coming and we wanted to be part of it. And so that was sort of the reason for pushing us, was to get something going before somebody else did down here.
Yeah, and what did you do right before you started Aunt Helen's?
Before, I ran the Bright School Age Centers for ABC, so I managed their before and after school programs. Did that for about 15 years. Right. The ultimate customer service when you're dealing with children.
So that prepared you.
It did, very much so, yeah.
A lot of times growth can be exponential, and you all are part of that because you saw that downtown Greeley's face was changing. And
Yes.
you saw that this downtown that's always been here physically with the concrete and the cross streets, it's always been here, but that it was changing and there was new life coming to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to hear you say that that growth is what inspired you to be part of that.
Absolutely. We could have done this out west, but we really wanted to. We've been in Greeley for 25 years and wanted to be part of the urban feel that was happening down here. So we were excited that it has come where it has, so we were able to do this.
And when did you all open doors?
We opened our doors, it'll be 2 years in March.
2 years in March.
Yeah.
And how have these 2 years been? Any surprise?
Fantastic.
Just,
You know, it's been great the way the community has embraced us and really supported us. We thought that might happen, but we didn't expect it to be to this extent. Tremendous support. People are always coming in and giving us repeat business. We appreciate the fact that there's so many people in Greeley that like the non-chain, the family, the small business. I really feel that there is a big push in Greeley as well as other communities, but for people to frequent small businesses rather than the chains.
Yeah, no, I feel just in hosting this podcast, I've heard that resounding from multiple guests and people's experiences that people here in Northern Colorado and maybe everywhere, you know, maybe this is a national, international, you know, world trend, but specifically here in Northern Colorado, we feel and people are seeing that there's something about meeting the person or knowing that there's a person behind the entity.
I agree.
And not a board full of 50 people who just invest and they kind of, you know, half don't care about the business or whatever. They're in it for the money. It's people's livelihood behind the beer that you're buying, the coffee that you're buying, the movie that you're going to see, like at the Crest. There's something to that.
I would agree. And there's also a lot of flexibility and ability to do things that are more regional when you don't have a big corporation. Our food doesn't come off a truck prepackaged. It's stuff that we make right here. So we're able to alter items and ingredients for people that you can't get at some of the big chains where they have those big corporate rules that everybody has to follow. So I think that unique and intimate experience, for lack of a better word, really makes it appealing.
Right. And has operating this coffee shop for 2 years been what you expected?
It has been more than I expected. To be honest, I wasn't sure what to expect. The one thing I think people ask me all the time, what surprised you the most? And I think it is the constant reinventing, the constant being top of the mind for people and how important that is. And like the avatar and making sure that she's fresh and she's new and constantly thinking of new items. We change our menu about every 3 months just to bring in new items to keep things new. And you have to, you know, to stay ahead of the competition. You just have to constantly be reinventing yourself. That's the part that shocked me the most.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, because, you know, people shortening attention spans and yada yada. Do y'all have any staples or have you found something that you had to hold on to because people kept coming in and saying,
absolutely.
Oh, do you have this still?
So probably our most unique item is our waffle wrap, which is our signature item. It's a thin waffle that we use, that we wrap up with bacon, eggs, or whatever your meat of choice is. So it's like a breakfast burrito inside a sweet waffle. And that has been our staple item. People are addicted to them. You know, just this morning at 7 a.m., I got a call for 12 of them. They were taking them to Gill or someplace. So it's just something that people really kind of get hooked on. And it is nice because, as Haley pointed out from RDRX Nutrition, it's lower in carbs, lower in fat, obviously, because it's a thin waffle. So it offers some health benefits, I guess, as well. But that, and then probably our coffee. Our drinks are coffee forward, so you taste the coffee in the sweet drinks rather than all of the sugar. So we really cut back on the amount of flavorings we use so that you do taste the coffee first and then the additional second, like our Tall, Dark, and Handsome, which Aunt Helen always said she wished she had and she never did. Yeah, her husband that she was married to for a short while was very short and bald, so she always wanted a Tall, Dark, and Handsome in her life. But anyhow, you can come to Aunt Helen's and get one, but that's probably our most popular drink, and that is just a traditional mocha. We do add some vanilla in it to spice up the flavoring, but again, it's coffee forward. You taste our espresso first.
That's refreshing for me to hear because when I go out and get coffee in public, I kind of want to spice it up. I want to get something new, be a little adventurous, but I'm worried that there's going to be 100 grams of sugar and someone just poured a whole gallon of flavoring in there, and then
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not even drinking coffee anymore, so
I'm just
I'll
drinking sugar.
go with the house coffee.
All of our drinks we can make sugar-free. We call them skinny. Like our skinny vanilla is our vanilla latte that we use sugar-free syrup, and then skim milk, and I use 0%. We don't use 2%. So it's actually no fat, low sugar. So a lot of our drinks are under 80 calories.
And I was noticing through both your Instagram and your website that you all do a ton of local philanthropy and
Yes.
service for the community, connecting with nonprofits.
That is a big deal to us, yes. Currently, starting in about a week, we are doing a Habitat for Humanity fundraiser where we are trying to purchase the doors for the home that they're building. It's a family of 4, a single mother, I believe. That build will start, I think, as soon as they can run the funds. So you'll be able to purchase a door here, and you can spend $1 up to $2.2 million if you'd like, and we'll let you put your name on a door and then hang it on our display out front. It's on our art wall this month. So that's our goal, is to raise $1,000 or more for Habitat this month. That was part of our original business plan, was to give back to the community. We felt that being people, well, we met at UNC here in Greeley. Bob and I did many years ago. And when we had the opportunity to move back to Greeley, we just have gotten so much from this community and enjoyed it so much that was a big focus of ours, is to be a responsible business and do as much as we could to give back to the community.
And was Aunt Helen a big philanthropist? Or I feel like...
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe. I'm not sure. She was an accountant for the United States government, and she has been retired as long as I've been alive. So crazy, right?
Oh my God.
She retired the year I was born. So.
And you all feature some insight from Aunt Helen throughout the coffee shop, also on the website. I pulled a couple that I thought would be neat to discuss on the podcast. One being, don't confuse being necessary with being important.
Correct. Another one that she says, in addition to kind of add that, is she'll say people don't have jobs, they have positions. So I think it's kind of a phrase that people would refer to back during maybe the Depression times of those who were doing better than others. That's the other, looking sharp is for those who don't know how to work hard.
Yeah, I saw that.
When I would concern myself with my hair as a young girl, she would say that to me, that, it's important to work hard than to look good. So I think some of those sayings, or some of them we've embellished quite a bit, but a lot of the meaning of work hard, be honest, an honest dollar is better than, a quick buck, that kind of stuff.
On top of that, I also kind of take from it that we get so consumed by our job positions, what we're supposed to be doing, the 9-to-5 responsibility. And if you distinguish between necessary and important, it takes away a lot of people's anxiety to feel like I need to be tethered to my email because I have to respond within 5 minutes, or just have this overwhelming feeling that we are needed and our job is at the utmost importance. And of course, people out there, I'm not saying to throw away your livelihood, but just remember the priorities and remember what's important. That's kind of what I took from it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely, it's very true. It's important to work-life balance, right?
Another one I brought with me is, no one will ever pay for you to follow your dreams. And I feel like that, in the 21st century, in 2019, I feel like that's something that needs to be said.
I would agree with everybody being dreamers. Sometimes we forget what's important and not putting the cart before the horse, I guess.
Previously on an episode, I think it was Dr. Barry Braun, way back at the beginning, I think it was episode 9, we talked about how following your dreams is great, but also grounding yourself in reality. And where do we put that sliding scale?
Yeah.
For, I have this idea, I have this passion, but I also got to pay rent.
Right.
I got to make things happen. And once we get past a certain age, especially if you have significant other, people living with you, you have kids, children, there's a fine line we have to toe between plucking those dreams out of a tree and what should I be doing.
Well, and it took me and my husband till we were in our 50s to be able to follow our dreams. So, a lot of hard work, a lot of other time spent so that we could get to a point in our life where we could start our dream, which is kind of where we're at today.
Is that part of why maybe you wanted to start a coffee shop before, but you didn't because you didn't feel like the timing was right, maybe the finances weren't right?
Exactly. We needed to get to a point where we were financially stable. Our kids had moved out of the house. They'd graduated, so they had had, started their own lives. So we found ourselves with a lot more time on our hands because we didn't have the kids that we were, doing all their sports activities. So we had more time on our hands, as well as we were more financially secure. So that was a good time for us to branch out into this new adventure.
And the last one that I brought with me from Aunt Helen is advice for longevity. This was in an interview I saw that somebody had conducted with Aunt Helen, or maybe they were just asking you.
Yes.
They said, what is your advice for someone who's looking to be a centurion or older like yourself? And she said, quote, just keep on going and mind your own damn business.
Yes. So she grew up in a very small town in South Dakota, Chamberlain, South Dakota. And I don't know if any of you who have lived in a small town know that everybody knows everybody's business more than you know yourself. And so her biggest pet peeve is people who get up in her business, for lack of a better word. So that's her big thing, is minding your own damn business. And she once told an interview, you ought to try it. And I don't think he understood what she was saying, but he was asking her questions and she was getting irritated with the questions because she felt like he was getting too personal. So that's one of her things, is just mind your own damn business, work hard, and you'll live forever.
Focus on yourself.
Yep, focus on yourself, not everybody else. And the other thing is, don't compare yourself to other people. Just be the best you can be at what you do, and don't worry about those around you. And that is a lesson that she brought to me a lot growing up, is, stop worrying about what your friends are doing. Just worry about what you're doing. So
happiness is
temporary.
Reality. It's temporary.
Temporary,
but
yeah.
Reality minus expectations.
Yeah.
Or, what is it? Comparison is the thief of all happiness? Or it's like...
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like we get this golden object, we love it,
Mm-hmm.
we praise it, we think it's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and then our eyes slide to the right and we look over and we think, oh my gosh, it's better.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we look back in our own hands and it's been depreciated.
That's very true. And that's true of business too. We focus a lot on just being the best we can be at all times. We don't concern ourselves necessarily with what the competition is doing. I mean, we do to an extent of making sure that we're up on new trends, but it's just keep your head down, work hard, and good things will happen. So far, knock on wood, it's been a recipe for success for us.
Because I feel like you all did not model yourselves after any of your competition,
No.
any other coffee shops or whatever, because from day one, the signs outside of Aunt Helen's were just like, it was different.
And that was our goal, was to be something unique and different, and experience that is unlike any you've had. So that we also have the full menu, breakfast and lunch. So we offer a wide variety of items, lots of salads, smoothies, just a lot of variety that you don't typically find in coffee shops.
And have you ever had anyone approach you and say, do you think that these quips and one-liners from Aunt Helen or posted outside on your A-frame may draw away business, or is everyone supported?
We never have. I hope that they don't. We try to not be offensive. There's been some that we've looked at and thought, no, that wouldn't be appropriate. There's one right now that one of our baristas wants to do. I'm like, no. So we try not to be offensive, but we just try to be funny and poke fun at everything in life for the most part.
And people have to know walking down the street. It's the, I'm going to butcher the name, but it's like the logical person argument, where when you read something,
Yep.
don't read it in the worst intent.
Right.
If they see that you're a coffee shop,
Mm-hmm.
you're not out here trying to...
Change the world.
Well, you're not out here like trying to poke holes in the balloon of the community.
Right.
Clearly trying to tell a joke, and you're trying to put a smile on someone's face, and maybe they'll come in and share their morning with you.
Exactly. That's the whole goal, is make people smile.
Yeah.
That truly is. And if you can't, laugh at yourself, then it's just not as fun.
And then they can go get coffee somewhere else.
Right, exactly.
Where they won't be
exactly.
smiling. And you all try to get a lot of your ingredients locally. How do you all, how do you even start with those partnerships? And just
You bet.
start reaching out and...
Go back to Bob's experience in the industry. He's been in the food service industry for, 20, almost 30 years. And so he's on a national level now, but he had a lot of contacts from when he worked locally, regionally, and that's who we reached out to. Our coffee company actually is local, and it was important to us because it was a roaster that was top notch in Colorado, and it wasn't in Greeley. So that is one of the reasons why we chose Coda to roast our coffee for us, because it is just so good and unique.
Which is neat because it's further partnerships. It's building other people's brands and products in the community, because they get to funnel through you and find new customers, and you can say, hey, Did you like it? Well, here's actually where we get it from.
Yeah, our kombucha right now that we have on tap is Rowdy Mermaid out of Boulder. And we've tried some other Colorado companies, which have been great, but we find that Rowdy Mermaid, they're good. They offer, the freshest kombucha that we've been able to find yet. So, yes, we're building partnerships with other Colorado companies, which is very helpful, and it helps everybody out.
And what does Aunt Helen think of all of this? Has she given her feedback on the coffee house and the logo, and has she seen her avatar?
She has. She chuckles. She asks me often. Every time we see her about every weekend. We take her out to eat. It's one of her favorite things to do. And we'll occasionally bring her over here on a Saturday, and she'll kind of look around and she'll say, "How's business?" Because that's kind of how she talks. And she'll say things like, "Do people actually pay you to be here?" And, "Do people really like this stuff?" Those kind of things. So I think she really enjoys it. And she lives over at Greeley Place, and they bring a van over of residents, every Thursday. So she's very proud of that they come and visit her coffee shop once a week. So it's been real special.
She's got to be a kind of local celebrity.
I think she is. Yeah, people definitely know her when we go places, which is fun. And she has her favorite places that we take her to, and they know her. She has a special table, so it's been a lot of fun.
Do you mind shouting out one of Aunt Helen's favorites in the area?
I would say JB's and San Termo's are two of her favorite places to go next to Aunt Helen. She loves the pizza, and she loves the JB's fried chicken. It is just her favorite. It reminds her of being back in South Dakota.
Yeah, if people in the area have not been to JB's in Garden City, which is southeast Greeley area-ish, when you go and sit down, you call from a phone that's connected to a local line, and you order on a phone system to someone in the restaurant. They bring it to you. Maybe this is reminiscent of an older system, but I just loved it. I thought that was fascinating when I first went there.
For Aunt Helen, too, it reminds her of being back in Chamberlain, South Dakota, because that's how you used to order in drive-up diners, which is what they truly are. They used to have girls on roller skates, and in Chamberlain, they had a very popular drive-in like that. So it kind of reminds her of that.
Yeah, it comes back to that family-owned business idea.
Exactly.
I remember when it was the first winter I lived here, and there was it was like a friend or two of mine and I were going to JB's one weekend night. We come up and there's no cars. It's like, oh no, are they closed? And I saw this piece of paper taped to the outside of the door. I was like, okay, so I walked up to it, and in small, regular Microsoft Word print, it said that they had taken off for the winter.
Yes.
It's like winter vacation. And there was a part of me that was frustrated because, I was like, oh man, I can't get JB's until spring or whatever. And there's a part of me that really enjoyed that because there's a family behind that establishment.
Right, exactly. We get often asked why we're not open on Sundays, and that is one of our biggest reasons. That is our family day. That is our day to do the things we need to do. We may eventually open on Sundays, but right now we're still staying closed.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming events we should let listeners know about?
We do. We have it's hashtag Doorway Out of Poverty with the Habitat for Humanity. We are doing that. Then we will be featuring coffee and hot chocolate sales at the Women's March, and that is January 19th. And then we have...
And where does that take you? Is that here in Greeley?
Yep, that'll be at Lincoln Park, and that's also where the Polar Pedal is leaving from. So anybody who wants to learn about the bike trails and check out the great parks that we have in Greeley on their bike can do the Polar Pedal. It's a pretty easy ride, geared towards families. And after the Polar Pedal, you can come here and enjoy a free latte here at Aunt Helen's. And then the Women's March is also happening that same day. So we will be there.
So this is a huge event, January 19th. That's a Saturday, 10 to 1. Aunt Helen's will be there.
Yes, we will. Yes. Then we will be having more fundraisers throughout the year. Every year we do about 6 to 7 to help raise money for businesses in the community or nonprofits in the community. So those will be coming up, and check out our Aunt Helen's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat for those things coming up.
I feel like Twitter is a platform made for Aunt Helen.
Yeah. Yes, I need to get more active on Twitter. Mostly right now I'm Facebook and Instagram, but we'll get there.
Leaving our listeners for now, is there anything you might drop from Aunt Helen's wisdom that we haven't mentioned already?
Always drive fast and take chances.
She said that. Always drive fast and take chances.
Yep. It's kind of a funny phrase because if you're walking out the door at 16 with keys in your hand and somebody says drive fast, take chances, you're more likely to listen rather than saying be careful, right?
Right. And then your parents are saying, "No, whoa,
No, wait, don't say that." Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone out there, drive fast, take chances, and come in for some sassy coffee and warm experiences here at Aunt Helen's.
Very good. Yes.
Excellent. Don't worry. We will be back soon, hearing from another person or a group of people on the More NoCo. Who will it be? As always, I want to thank Russell Isaac Long for the music used here at the More NoCo. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook for extra information, bonus content, and updates about guests who have previously been on the podcast. That's the More NoCo, all one word. Original, right? Thank you for listening and supporting the show. Until next time, peace!